Hi, I'm Annabelle, and I'm here with Thea and Donna, and we're going to be talking about doing your homework. So Thea, what research methods do you think are important when you're planning your business?
Well, we did a huge amount of research, but I must say today it's easier than it ever would be, than it was back then because of the web. I mean, now you really can enjoy sitting back at your desk and doing a huge amount of research. But one of the most important pieces of research that we did, because we're a consumer-facing product much like yourselves, was we did a huge amount of focus groups. And I think from that, you just get such great advice and tips, and you're really speaking to your consumer, and you very quickly home in on who your consumer is. And you can't please everyone, but you get a really good feel for who that end target audience is.
I think that's true. If you try and please everybody, you're going to fail.
You
never will. You need to know who your consumer market is.
I always think obviously being really honest in a business is always really helpful. From making food and telling the consumer what's in it to the nails, and obviously blogging. If I'm doing a review, it's got to be completely honest, bads, the goods, everything. And I think you've got to get that trust from your consumer, really.
Yes. What are your tips for setting up your business as a mummy blogger?
Well, one of the most important things, obviously, is the fact that, obviously, I suppose we're all self-employed. So having to make sure that your accounts are done, taxes being, sorted, all those things, it wasn't so bad for me. I was already self-employed, but it just meant, obviously, letting my accountant know there's going to be a bit of a change in my in my accounts.
What about childcare issues, having time to yourself to be able to develop this?
He's entirely my responsibility at the moment, yeah. So yeah, I'm a stay-at-home mum. I mean, it's one of the reasons that I did do blogging is because I get to stay at home and I get to look after him.
I think it's a really good important point because I chose writing. It could be a serious career, but you can wrap it around your child. Yeah. And I could be at home, and I'm having lost a child. I really wanted to be with my children. Yeah. And it was only later that I developed a more intense career, went into food. James Kahn, who's a neighbour of mine, he always says that when you're telling somebody about your business, don't ask them what they think about it. Ask them why they think it might fail, then you might learn something. Yeah, I think it's really good advice.
Very good advice, yeah.
Any other tips?
I think just, to deal with all the practical things. I mean, I remember, one of the things in Nails Inc. that, causes huge stress and pressure on the business is all those, basic elements like distribution. No one really talks about how you go from, initially you probably do it from home or a small office and you're distributing your products out for 3 and 4 and 5 customers. And then when you actually get a retailer like a John Lewis or, in your case, a supermarket, you need to set up a whole different kind of infrastructure. And I think it's making sure you've got, if that's not your skill, making sure you've got people in the business that enjoy that.
And also, a lot of mums are going to start their business from home, and it's really important to realise that your home insurance may not cover your office insurance.
No, and sometimes you don't realise those things until something actually goes wrong.
Goes wrong, and then you think, oh my God, why didn't I think of that?
And they're not year one. They're all part of incorporating your business. I think that's good practical advice, isn't it? When you start a business, you list out all of those elements to actually set yourself up, as well as doing all of the creative, exciting projects that your fun activities that what got you to the business in the first place.
So Thea, Donna, thank you so much for coming today, and I hope you've learnt a lot, and here are your top 3 tips on doing your homework. Make sure you get the basics right: insurance, legals, and accounting. You've got to get out there. You can't do good research sitting behind a desk. Set targets that are achievable, and don't feel overwhelmed. Remember that business is a lot about common sense.